You believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really hired, Mr. Stark?
And welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation Comic Book Chronicles. Woo! Yeah! Woo. So, this is going to be a very interesting night. I am not Tim D-O-double-G. I am, of course, Dirt from Pop Culture Network. And I am joined by Mr. Roddy Cat at Roddy_Cat on Twitter. I was trying to think, YouTube? No, Twitter. That's what it is.
I mean, yeah, YouTube. Sure.
But we're on YouTube. You can tell there's some issues right now. You're staring at this old photo of me from this show, but probably about 3 years ago or something. My camera is not working tonight. We couldn't get it working, and just said, forget about it. We'll just jump in and start doing the show live. We've got no Tim here because he's on getting ready for Baby Patrol. And so, of course, we always wish him the best of luck with that. And Agent_70 is not with us tonight because he is MIA.
I think Deadpool might have got him. We don't know. We're still trying to figure that one out.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Thanos didn't destroy him, to save for the good of the universe. But
took his account.
I mean, you never know. But yeah, so according to Matt Wang on Twitter, Agent_70 was busting out his old Shatterstar cosplay tonight. So maybe he's out living large with that. But yes, so this is the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles, and of course, you can always subscribe on YouTube. You can follow CB Cron or is it Comic Book Chronicles on Twitter?
CB Cron is the Twitter. Is the Twitter site, but you can use the hashtag Comic Book Chronicles if you want to, or the hashtag CBCron if you want to check us out that way.
There you go. See, you've got all the information. So you can also find Instagram. You can also find us on Stitcher. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on TuneIn. Is it TuneIn Radio?
I think we're still on TuneIn. Actually, I'm not sure about that, and I don't even know who's still using TuneIn. But we are on SoundCloud and Google Play and Apple and all that kind of good.
And iHeartRadio, I think, also. So, I mean, yeah. So there's a lot of places. I mean, just type us in, you'll find us somewhere. So you can always ask if you find any of us hanging out on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or whatever. Just ask. Say, hey, where can I find the show? And we'll be sure to find you a link. So, having done the worst intro to this show in the history of this show, I think maybe it's time we started talking about some comics. So I say we jump right into some reviews. And right. Since Agent_70 is not here, I'm going to start with DC because that's where my heart is. That's where my home is.
Oh, there you go.
So we're going to start. I'm going to start actually with the Superman special. I don't know if anybody else in the world has been reading the Action Comics special and Superman special. But this is a $4.99 special book. It kind of fills the gap while they're waiting for the Bendis Man of Steel series to start. And this special, it's got one main story and then a couple backups. And the main story is a return to Dinosaur Island, which people have been reading Superman for a couple of years. There was a story a few years back where John and Clark got caught on this. I mean, it's this island full of dinosaurs. I mean, I don't know, it's Dinosaur Island. And the World War II fighting team, the Losers, were there, and almost all of them were dead. I think the rest of them died while they were there, except for one guy who was left behind, and he basically protected them from the dinosaurs while they escaped through a magic portal. And so now in this special, they decided, hey, you remember that plot thread where they left that guy on that island full of dinosaurs? We should probably do something about that. So this special basically plugs that hole in the storyline. They go back to rescue him from Dinosaur Island and bring him back to modern times. And so that's basically the main part of the story. And it is it is one of those things where every so often you think, why didn't they go back and save that guy? It's like, he was there to save your life, and you just kind of left him there to live with dinosaurs. So they took care of that problem. And there's some follow up too, where he's got dog tags of the guys that didn't survive, and he's returning them. So it's kind of a touching story. And it is, it is a good kind of way to cap off the series, really. Just kind of finish it off. So there's this little thing we left open. Now we're going to close it. The two backup stories are really nothing special. Nothing too terribly exciting about them, but for the main part, the Escape from Dinosaur Island, that does tie back into the series, so that's a good thing to have.
I have questions, or at least one question. One, because I know Dinosaur Island has come up, and I almost called it the Savage Land, but
right, yeah, actually, that's fair.
But so it was the Losers.
The Losers, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I know of that book, and that's only because of the movie.
Right. Okay. So that was a like Vertigo several years ago recreated the team, reimagined the team as being a modern day team instead of a World War II team. Because for a long time, it was a Joe Kubert book.
Gotcha.
And so it was one of his, All Out War or Men of War or All American War Stories or whatever those comics were that he did a billion of. The Losers were a component of that, and so what I was going
to ask was, are they associated with the Blackhawks? Because I could have sworn like the Blackhawks was usually associated with Dinosaur Island.
No, not really. I mean, just kind of that they were all World War II teams, and they probably did a crossover story here or there. But with so many times in the DC universe that they brought back the Blackhawks. They brought back the Losers for that Vertigo series, which, by the way, was very good. Which is a very good series from Vertigo.
Saying that, and I think I may have bought it, but I never, because I wanted to read it before I watched the movie, and I never did.
And you really don't have to. I mean, it's just it's a lot like Red or one of those others where, I mean, sure, it's got the same name as the comic and kind of the same like general plot idea to it, the same feel, but not necessarily an adaptation, straight out of the comic.
Actually, those two Red movies weren't bad either.
Oh, I liked them. I liked them a lot. I thought they were great.
Yeah, they were.
We got a tweet from Matt Wang here. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second.
That's no problem. He tends to do that. Shout out to Matt Wang.
So he says he's 3 weeks behind, so he's going to hop on later for the news because he doesn't want spoilers from the comics. But we don't do spoilers. We avoid spoilers.
Yeah, not intentionally.
We avoid spoilers. Oh, I tried to write "we avoid" and it came out "we about spoilers." Like that is the exact opposite thing that I was trying to convey.
Right. Well, it depends on whether we're doing movies now. Movies, and when we get to past that point, then yeah.
All right. So anyway, I'm gonna set the phone aside and get back to comics. Okay. So anyway. So if you read the Superman series, you definitely want to pick that up to fill that plot hole.
Okay, cool.
All right, Batman 47, which, by the way, has the creepiest looking cross-dressed Harley Quinn on the cover, on the variant cover. The variant cover shows a whole bunch of people at a Batman movie premiere or something, and they're all dressed in costume. And there's a dude dressed as Harley Quinn, and it's just the creepiest looking thing I've ever seen.
I've seen people, that cover has been floating around a little bit. So because I think they did they put the image of it out.
All right. So anyway, in this book, this is the last part of the Booster Gold series. Booster had actually gone back in time and stopped Bruce Wayne's parents from getting murdered, which of course changed the whole time stream. And it was supposed to be to show Bruce Wayne, how the world needed Batman and how the world was terrible. And the world was pretty bad, but he was actually fine with it because his parents were there. And so Booster tried to get Catwoman to come in and, snap him out of it. But it turns out that she was crazy as well. And so she attacked and killed his parents. And so, everything just went really wrong in the last issue. Really, really bad. So here in this issue, it's basically trying to figure out how to set the time stream right. And, it's Booster Gold, so everything goes wrong, except, boy, it goes wrong. It goes wrong like wrong, not wrong as in like this is incorrect, but wrong as in like, oh my gosh, this is the story that they put in this comic wrong. Like it gets really dark. Like the ending of it is really, really dark. And I mean, if you think about, Batman was created because his parents got murdered in front of him. That's pretty dark. And this decides, you know what? That's just not dark enough. Let's just go a little bit darker than that. And so that's what they did.
And I think the main cover pretty much alludes to something, doesn't it?
I don't know. I didn't see the main cover. I just have the variant.
Okay. I'm looking for the variant now because I might put it up as a cover to the show on YouTube. But because there was a cover, and I don't know if it was the main cover or not, but it was like for my parents to live, Booster Gold must die, or something like that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's not exactly the plot line, but
sure.
But still, yeah, it gets pretty dark. So anyway, that's one. But I will say this. The past few issues, 45, 46, and now this is Batman 47. They've done a lot better job of putting actual story in them. Because that's something I've complained about, again, for a long time, is that it takes you about 30 seconds to read one of these from Tom King, because it's just, it's so much focused on just panel-to-panel artwork and not a lot of story. And even when he does put a lot of like dialogue, it's just conversation, so it doesn't really seem to do much. But these past few issues have actually had a lot of stuff going on. So I've enjoyed this storyline quite a bit. And I give them a lot of credit for putting that together, especially after how disappointed I'd been the last few months.
Almost as if they saw your complaints. And was
yeah, like I said, Tom King must listen to the show. He's a huge fan of mine, and so it's great to know I have such wonderful fans working in the industry.
Hey, if Tom King does listen or watch this show, please, we would love to have you on. Putting that out there,
Just throw it out there, nice and easy. You can message us on Twitter. Just send us a DM.
Yeah, have our people talk to your people, which our people are us. So there you go.
So it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got?
All right, my last DC here is Justice League No Justice #2.
Okay.
And I know that Tim Dog read this one, and he actually enjoyed it quite a bit. He actually, this is going to sound crazy, but he actually enjoyed it more than I did, because I was a little disappointed in this one. This was, okay, so basically the overall storyline is that Brainiac kidnapped a bunch of heroes and villains, took them to his home planet because these giant robot, celestial, eternal, Omega Prime things are attacking his home planet. And he basically says, my planet's under attack. You guys are going to stop them, because if you don't, I've programmed them, or I've enticed them to go attack Earth next. So it's like, you've got to stop them here and save my planet, or your planet's also going to be destroyed, basically. It's what he says. And so he breaks them up into these teams, and the teams are, part hero, part villain, based on these different characteristics they're looking for. So one is like the Team Wisdom, and one is like Team Entropy, and one is Team Glamour. I can't remember, but anyway, so 2 snaps up, team. All right, so but the problem is, like, in the first issue, they set everything up. And, Brainiac explains why he's brought him there, and explains what these things are, and explains how he's got to stop them, and explains. And then the issue ends, and it's like, they got to jump into battle. And you're like, okay, cool. So then you get issue 2, and you open it up, and it's like them arguing for like maybe half the book. Should we really be doing this? Should we really be on these teams? Should we really help him? Can we really trust Lex Luthor on this team? Can we really trust Sinestro? Why are we all here? What are we doing here? Can we really stop this thing? Why are we? And it's like, dude, like, we just went through all of this stuff in the last issue. Let's just get to it. So it kind of felt like they were stretching things out a little bit. So, like I said, I don't think these teams are going to last beyond this miniseries or anything. It's just kind of a fun little thing for them to do until they start the new series. But I wasn't as hyped for this issue as I was for the last one. The last one I thought was pretty good, but this one, if the last one was like a 9 out of 10, this one's like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Just not like it's still okay, but just not.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, because I think the last time we talked about it, there was some allusions to comparisons to Marvel's recent No Surrender event.
No. It's their new series that's going on right now. The comparison was to the new Avengers series that's going on right now.
Well, yeah, some of that too with the Celestial stuff. Yeah, but I meant the coming of the different teams and whatnot was kind of the thing. Like, yeah, this is.
Oh, the way they broke them up into different.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, but obviously no villains and yada yada yada. But there was still some comparisons that could be laid. I was like, wait, did they take them to Battle World? And I need to stop doing that because it was like, okay, stop making those kind of comparisons, even though it seems blatant. Or it was like Arcade's Murder World. I don't know. One of the two is like.
Well, they did go to Brainiac's homeworld, and we see a character who actually appeared in DC Comics in the 90s. Make a reappearance here, and so it's interesting to see that character make his reappearance in the new 52, because we are technically still in the new 52 in the Rebirth era, and so it was nice to see this character reappear, and I'm kind of interested to see what they do with him because he's wearing the uniform that he wore in his old series from the 90s.
Okay.
Which basically denotes a team that, as far as I know, doesn't actually exist in the new 52, or at least if it does, we haven't seen it.
I love how you're around this. That's beautiful. That's definitely done. So. I'm actually slightly curious about reading this series. But I just hadn't really gotten around to it because comparisons aside, it does seem there is some interest in it. I don't know. Like, I mean,
it definitely feels like something different. I mean, I'll give them credit for that it doesn't, for being a book where it's like, hey, we're going to take a bunch of heroes and villains and force them to work together. They at least found some new dressings to put them in, so at least it doesn't feel like it's the same, like it's the Beyonder and he's forcing everyone to fight, or it's Arcade and he's forcing them to fight, or it's that same type of thing, because it's not them forced to fight each other, and it's not them forced to be on one big team. It's forcing them to team up into different teams and fight things different ways, and the way that they're all grouped together. And there's even a storyline of what's happening back on Earth, because there's even a plot of Amanda Waller behind on Earth and some of the stuff that she's trying to get away with, and Green Arrow makes an appearance there. So there's at least a little bit extra going on. So it's, like I said, it's not exactly like it's a redressing of an old story, just redone in a new.
There's supposed to be a Justice League team coming out of this, right?
Yeah. There's a new book coming.
Yeah.
Later this summer, I think after the whole Man of Steel thing runs its course, and so. But yeah, they've shown off the logo online. So if you like, woo, I want to see that logo, you can go do a search for it. You can find that.
Sure.
But I mean, since we kind of brought it up, we can segue over to the Marvel side.
Yeah,
Sure. Well, because
like,
I would say we can bring up the Avengers #2.
Yeah, because I got a DC one, but it's an off thing. We can.
Okay. So
#2, definitely.
So Avengers #2 is the Avengers side of them fighting giant celestial eternal Omega Prime space robots, which I didn't realize this was coming out this week. Actually, this one kind of took me by surprise. I forgot this was coming out so soon. Mm-hmm. Before we get into the story, though, I want to say there were several pages in this book where the artwork felt really rushed, and I had thought they had switched artists for a couple pages. And I don't think that. Well, actually, let me double check before I say this. Before you start writing those angry tweets, let me double check. There were two different inkers, but it was the same penciler,
Okay.
Ed McGuinness, all the way through. But I mean, there were some of these pages where it was like, John Romita Jr. drew this book? What happened? I don't understand. No, and it was, I don't know if it's the inking or if it was just them trying to rush to keep up with the schedule or what the deal was. But there were some pages where the faces were just kind of, I don't know, like sour beer face. You know, so.
Yeah, I think I get what you're getting at on that one. Because, yeah, I didn't notice that. Like, it wasn't that much to where it put me off completely, because obviously there are some times where it's like, okay, this is completely jarring because you can see where they changed artists or whatever the case may be. But yeah, like I could see where they did there was some changes, or there were some, like you said, rushed bits or something.
But okay, so they of course they have someone narrating the story.
Yes.
And the person narrating, all their letters are in green.
Mm-hmm.
And all their letters are written in a different script.
Mm-hmm.
And the different script that they're written in happens to be the same script that's used for Thor.
And I was about to say, and if you've paid any attention to that in the last, a little bit, you already know who it is. Because that's what happened to me. Because I was like, okay, I saw the green lettering, and then I saw the script, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, it threw me for a loop because I had just read the last issue of Brave and the Bold, not the one that came out this week, but the one that came out before, which is Batman and Wonder Woman in like this Celtic Irish, afterworld or whatever. Right. And so I saw the green and I saw the script and I was like, there's an Irish bad guy in the Marvel universe? Like, is there some evil leprechaun running around here I forgot about? Hornswoggle is in the Marvel universe?
I was about to say Black Tom Cassidy, but he's not a leprechaun.
But anyway, yeah, so
yeah,
it threw me off for a second until Thor said something, and then I was like, "Oh, right, that guy."
And actually, now that I think about it, there's I just remember from the Scarlet Witch series, there was a like a wizard that they brought out that is Irish, or he was either Irish or Scottish, I can't remember, and please don't write me on that one, doesn't matter. But yeah, regardless, yeah, we found out who this narrator is at the end of the story, which I guess if you're doing a story that kind of brings things, quote unquote, back to the beginning, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about Avengers lore. And if you've read Free Comic Book Day, I guess you could also kind of make some. Oh,
you know what? I still haven't read that. I've got it sitting over here in the pile. I just haven't gotten to it. Yeah.
I just finished reading it because I read it. Well, I started reading it the day after. And then I was like, well, I didn't get a chance to read it because I was going to bring it up on the show. In fact, I think we did anyway. And then I was like, let me go back and finish it because I wanted to see where it was going to end off, and then to see, to see where it's going to tie into this, which kind of starting off, it kind of already says that, but at the same time, it pretty much leads to the events of the start of Avengers #1, which obviously that's what it was intended to do. Right. So, because I was wanting to see if it was going to bring up anything that was going to play in the long run, which it kind of did and kind of didn't. You get a little bit of back up, but you also again get to see who the narrative of the story kind of pop up there.
All right, so having said all of that, what do you think of the story? That's always the best way to start, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's like I like Jason Aaron. He's done some good stuff, but but I'm also still thinking of, I don't know why, but I'm also still thinking of the fact that he did AVX, and which none of that plays into this, but there's a part of that kind of bummed me out. Nevertheless, for the most part, his track records have been pretty good. Like, and this is starting off. It is starting off pretty much like an Avengers story. Like, every time that they've stopped the book and they brought it back together, and then the team kind of gets it back together in their own ways. This kind of seems to be in line with all of that. That said, the story seems all right. I don't know. It's the whole, like, hey, we're fighting Celestials again, but now, this 1 million BC plot's coming into this, which I'm slightly curious about that, even though I had totally forgotten about it up until they started bringing it up for, like, New Comic Book Day and stuff like that. There's also a reference in here that seemed like an offhand reference, but given some of the news that, or at least one or two bits of the news that we've gotten lately, couldn't be a coincidence. And I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
No, I'm lost at this
So,
point, but it's okay.
and
It's all right. It's all right.
yeah. So, well, yeah. There's a reference to a group that hasn't been seen in eons that might be coming back into the fold.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now I think I know what you're talking about.
So that aside, and it's like, okay, I see some things coming to play. But outside, but that all I had to say is like, I thought this seemed to be pretty decent. Like the whole, like, okay, we got these people fighting the Celestial. We got these two fighting each other.
Yeah, my biggest problem was that in the last issue, they were like, okay, we had 3 different groups that went to fight these Celestials. And then in this book, you get one group, and then you get like the one other guy who made an appearance in the book meeting another character. But those 2 other groups, they're like, you see them in one panel where they're like, oh, those groups are fighting off somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. And the one time you see the other group, it's like, it's the narrator basically saying that, talking about them. And that was it. And like you said, we only see another couple of people kind of pop up.
And I guess part of my problem is the two characters that get into a fight, they spend a lot of time like not accomplishing anything really with those characters.
And it didn't seem to make any kind of sense why they were even put in that situation, unless there's something that's gonna, like, unless there's a long game coming out, and that's like, well, clearly, I'll take it back. The last panel of them, sure, but the rest of them,
right? But getting to that one panel,
right, was like, none of that makes any sense.
It was totally random that one character got teleported near to where the other character was, and both characters' involvement is really. One character got involved just because the thing fell right in front of her.
Right.
The other character got involved because he was driving down the road, and this character just somehow, for whatever reason, just teleported right in front of him. Even though this character doesn't have teleportation powers, this character was teleported just because something teleported her, and that's
teleported. Well, so the second character you're speaking of, which spoilers. You already know who's in the book. Like Ghost Rider shows up in the book, the Robbie Reyes version.
I mean, he's on the cover, so
he's on the cover, and he's going to be on the team. This is a known issue. So, and the other person we're talking about is She-Hulk. But so the Robbie Reyes thing might be possibly going back to Marvel Legacy. And I had to go back and read up on that because of the 1 million BC stuff, and they mentioned in this book that there's a character that's no longer alive. That could have been something, and that's because that character died in Marvel Legacy, and partially to do with Ghost Rider. Because actually, which is weirdly funny, because now that I think about it, it's the same thing that happened to She-Hulk and Ghost Rider. Pretty much happened in Marvel Legacy. To a point, with the exception of it obviously didn't end up the same way, because something happened in Marvel Legacy, and then something happened to the other character who may or may not come back around again, or the version, or another version of the person we don't know, because.
But yeah, it felt very. I don't know. It seemed it was very unsatisfying. I'll put it that way. It got to a point you're like, okay, so these other characters, they're supposed to be part of the book, aren't really in the book, and these 2 other characters that are getting involved aren't really involved, and they're just kind of thrown together randomly, and they're attacked by giant roaches or something. I mean, that's really what it came down to. So.
Obvious aside, though, clearly at some point all of these are going to converge, and then I'm assuming next issue the other group is probably going to have.
I'm sure they will, but it's like there's no real reason for these characters to feel like they're part of the story. I mean, right now they're like a subplot that's unconnected.
Right. The way they came together, basically.
Right. It's not like they were part of the other Avengers team and they got separated and they're having to fight this other battle. They're just random people off to the side that, well, they're in this book, so they'll be part of the team eventually, So
yeah, a lot of times you'll see, like, when the team comes together, it's like, okay, hey, some of the team is here, and then somebody happens to pop in on the thing and gets involved, and yada yada yada, and then the team finally congeals after that, and they kind of took that in a slightly different way with this. So.
But the problem is, it's not like She-Hulk and Ghost Rider are fighting one of these giant Omega Prime robots or whatever it is they're called.
Right.
They're not fighting one, and then suddenly they have to join up with the other team in order to join forces.
Right.
They're just kind of like randomly going about doing other stuff.
Right. She-Hulk meets one, gets teleported to the Ghost Rider, and then they end up fighting, and then they end up fighting the Roach. I'm like, well, okay, that was a real strange way to do that, but sure, all right. You got to get there somewhere, I guess.
I guess.
So that said, yeah, it was an all right story. Like I said, at this point, it's only the second issue, and I have enough confidence in Aaron and the team to be like, well, this is going to go somewhere else. Even though some of his other books have kind of started off a little bit more, for lack of a better word, punchier, than this one is. Like, granted, this one kind of started off kind of big and I guess my only other problem with it is like, wow, Celestials again. Like, haven't we've kind of done that in the last couple of years, and I get it.
Yeah, but these are bigger, badder, tougher,
sure,
Celestial 2.0s or whatever. So,
and to be fair, the reasons why the Celestials are there are because of the 1 million BC stuff. So, like, sure, all of that's going to come into debate. So,
yeah, but I'm not a big fan of that stuff either. So, whatever. All right. So, you had a DC book that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, yeah. So, real quick, I can do this one. Future Quest presents the Herculoids number 10, which the numbering makes that sound more confusing than it actually is. But nevertheless, Future Quest presents number 10, and it is the Herculoids. So, when is it? Is it last issue or I can't remember? I think it was last issue actually. Dorno, the youngest kid of the Herculoids, was having a tantrum because he thinks he's all grown up and could lead the group and all this kind of good mess, and found out how horribly wrong that he was. And this alien, I almost want to call him a Mixoplick type character because he kind of came off that way in the beginning, but this alien came along with the intentions of, actually he's more, if you think about it, he's probably more Loki than Mixoplick, but and started getting into Dorno's head, and which causes the team to get disrupted or displaced or by the alien. And this alien also turned Dorno into an adult at the end of the book and said, hey, you got to save, you got 24 hours to save your team and the planet or else everything dies. And that's where this book comes in, where he's basically stumbling around because all these natural disasters are coming about, and he's trying to lead the team the best he could, which is not well at all because the rest of the Herculoids are getting hurt and trying to save him and this and the other. And like I said, all the while these other natural disasters are coming on. And he's pretty much fumbling around the whole, and feeling far as himself, and and asking, well, what would Xandar do, and all this and all of that, until the end of the book, where he undergoes another change thanks to this alien, whose whose intentions are kind of known to us, but he just keeps messing around with us. And next issue, we will see where that goes. So I don't know. It's all right. Like I've been enjoying the Future Quest stuff, and this one's not bad. But I've never liked Dorno, given the whole old Hercules cartoon. So all
right. So here's my question for you. When these Hanna-Barbera things were first coming out, we got the Flintstones, but it wasn't funny. We got Elmer Fudd, who's like a serial killer. We got whatever. But so is Future Quest the one that still kind of has the feel of the old cartoons? Like, is it still kind of fun and adventurous, or is it also kind of serious?
Okay, so those that you mentioned have nothing to do with Future Quest.
Okay,
except for the fact, because the Future Quest, unlike those, the Future Quest stuff wasn't necessarily made into a part of, like, they weren't made as a part of DC canon. Not DC canon, but they weren't made in the DC, to fit in the DC universe like those were.
Okay.
So this was a whole separate thing where, like, Johnny Quest and all of them, this is basically, they play in it kind of serious because it's basically all of those Hanna-Barbera cartoons like Johnny Quest, Hercules.
Yeah, like Johnny Quest was pretty serious for its time when it came out as being a kid's show.
So they're basically keeping all of that kind of the way it is. They just modernize things, obviously, you know.
But it's not like turned dark or
no.
rude or...
They're basically keeping the tone of that type cartoons and stuff like that. But just kind of modernize them and, you know, making stories about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You don't. Yeah. So it's nothing like those other ones that you mentioned.
All right. And then Future Quest Presents, this is the second series, right? Because there was a Future Quest that...
Well, so there was Future Quest. That was the event that was like 12 issues and, you know, ran through a whole thing. And then these are pretty much anthologies. Like, this is more like... I want to say like Marvel Premiere or one of those type of books where they
Marvel Comics Presents or something like that.
Yes, it's like one of those where there's just like every few issues they have a story dealing with the character, you know.
Okay.
And they still don't like they have touched on the stuff from some of the stories have touched on stuff that happened in Future Quest the event, but they are still a part of the world as if they're, you know,
all right,
themselves.
Okay.
So I I think you may, if you like Johnny Quest and stuff like that, I think you would probably still enjoy this. Like obviously they haven't done any Johnny Quest stories because the Future Quest event was pretty much focused around Johnny Quest, and these are like Space Ghost, Herculoids, The Impossible 3. That, you know, those are stories.
Okay.
Man, you know, and they're all connected in that universe like that.
Okay.
So that said, if you like those, you may enjoy these. There's a new Mitor that came out of Future Quest the event. So yeah, like I said, they've been enjoyable. Like this one's been all right. It's just that, like I said, I've never cared about Dorno in the cartoon, and they've actually captured the feel of him in this to where I don't really care for him too much. But since it's featured, since he's the one that's the story's being featured around for this, then got to deal with it.
All right then.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other Marvel or DC?
No, I do not have either. I do have one other book, but I don't have any other Marvel and DC.
Okay. Yeah, I just have I have a Valiant and an Image book.
Hit it.
Okay. Well, for Valiant, we've got Bloodshot Salvation, number 9, and this Bloodshot in its current storyline is he found a girlfriend. They had a baby. The baby has the Bloodshot powers. Baby got really sick, was dying. So Bloodshot sought out, I guess now he's called Ninja K. Used to be Ninjak, but I think now he's Ninja K. And so Ninja K helped him to find Shadow Man, and Shadow Man opened a portal to hell so that basically Bloodshot could make a deal to save his daughter. So last issue, he saves his daughter. She gets sent back to Earth, but instead of being an infant, she's now like 6 or 8 or something like that. Like this child walks out instead of a baby. And then Bloodshot gets sent off somewhere else, and he doesn't know where. So in this issue, I was like, ooh, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Let's find out. Instead, we get a fill-in issue, which is the origin of Bloodhound, his dog. And so his dog has the same nanites and the same healing properties and whatever he has. And it turns out he was part of a World War I experiment where they had a pack of these dogs, and they sent them out to the front line against the Germans and had the dogs basically, learn how to do their thing by fighting trench warfare in the Great War. So I will say the artwork was tremendous. The artwork was beautiful. I don't know how long it takes this guy, Renato Guedes. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Guedes. But however he does his artwork, it is phenomenal. Every page looks fully painted, full of detail. Just tremendous work. As far as the story goes, it was all right. There wasn't really anything wrong with the story. And in fact, the story it actually took a twist I wasn't expecting. But having said that, though, it still was a little like, oh, I kind of want to know what happened with the actual plot. So it was still fine for what it was, and but it is, a one shot off, not connected really to the rest of the series. So a little disappointing as far as that goes.
Kind of like a filler episode. Filler
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, just as they catch up with. Well, I think part of the thing is it's starting to tie into Harbinger Wars 2, and that has to get to a certain point in the story. So this may have been there just to like fill some time for that series to start and get to wherever it needs to go for the next issue.
Gotcha.
All right. So anyway,
it does look pretty good.
the art. Yeah, I mean that artwork is beautiful. All right. The other book I read was Gideon Falls #3 from Image.
Oh, I just said Ninja K, but okay.
No, I didn't read that one.
Okay.
Gideon Falls. This is from Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. I'm so terrible with names, but these are the ones that worked on Old Man Logan when that relaunched, and they worked together on something else a while ago that now I can't remember what it is. But regardless, this story follows basically this priest comes to the small town to fill in because the former priest who was there has disappeared. And while he's there, he starts having these strange visions. There's a murder. He gets implicated in the murder. And he has this vision of this big black barn in the middle of this field. And something about the barn just fills him with terror. He doesn't know what it is. At the same time, there's a guy in a big city. And this guy in the big city is basically crazy, and he's digging through trash, and he's finding little bits of wood and nails because he's been having these visions of a big black barn. And for some reason, the big black barn vision is compelling him to find the pieces. He believes that the structure is real, and he's trying to find the pieces for it in the trash so that he can rebuild this big black barn. Of course, he's doing it picking up, 6-inch splinters of wood and old rusty nails, but he feels, like he's going to do it. And his therapist, of course, is trying to help him out. You're crazy. Let's get you through past all this. And then she has a vision of the big black barn, and it fills her with terror. So basically, this priest in the small town and this guy in the city are both having visions of this thing. And it looks like the visions are starting to spread. And when they have these visions, it like opens a portal to some sort of evil. And this evil kills someone in the town and makes it look like the old priest who has disappeared is the one who committed the murder. So either he was possessed or he did do it before he disappeared, or, whatever. You don't really know exactly what's going on, but there's something about this small town, and there's some sort of manifestation of pure evil coming through this town. And this guy off in the big city is probably like so crazy. He's the only one who's just crazy enough that he can see the truth of what's really going on with this thing. So you're not quite sure how all these pieces are going to start to fit together, but the story is put together so well, and the artwork is so fantastic in this book. I know I complain a lot when some books they're just filled with dialogue, or they're just filled with action artwork, and there's not a lot of story. This book is like just pure storytelling for the modern comic, the same level as some of the stuff like Sheriff of Babylon or Mr. Miracle or any of those type books. I'm going to put this up at the same level as those with the storytelling. There may not be a lot of action, there may be a lot of dialogue, or there may be a couple pages where there is no dialogue and it's just artwork, but there's always so much going on the page. There's always so much detail that's in there. Sorrentino, however you pronounce this, he always does this thing where he draws the pages, but he draws like everything's black and white except like a red box around something, and what's in that box is in color. So like it draws your eye to it, like that's something important. So you'll get like a 2-page spread with like these circles coming out of it, and from those circles there are little boxes of things that you're supposed to pay attention to, like in this 2-page spread of this guy's apartment. Like it's really hard for me to explain in words what's happening visually on these pages, but it is just.
I'm looking at exactly. Well, I could put it up, but I'm looking at exactly what you're talking about.
It is just so good. Like this is one of those things where you always hear about some comic book series is being optioned for a TV show. Mark Millar, like, he puts out a piece of promotional artwork, and suddenly he's got a deal to make a movie, based off of it. There's always like something bizarre that happens with that. But this book, if this book becomes a movie or a TV series or whatever, I'll be the first in line to watch it.
That's funny. Actually going to ask you, does it seem like it was going to be something that could be optioned for one? So
yeah, I mean, it definitely does. It definitely feels like I've been watching on Netflix. I've been watching shows like The Dark and The Rain and some of these horror themed. It's like Stranger Things, but like for an older crowd. And this feels definitely like it could be turned into one of these shows or something along those same themes, because it's really dark, but it's really atmospheric, and the artwork really leads a lot into that, because it is a different style of artwork. It's completely different than anything else you're going to see, on comic stands. So I think the artwork probably adds so much of the atmosphere that makes it so good. But the story itself is also really well told, and you can tell it's also one of these things where you can tell that he's figured out, he probably has like a notebook just full of notes and plot points and story points, and he's like interwoven them and kind of mixed them up and like refixed them in such a way so it's not like this straight linear storytelling where you're getting all the information as it's happening. You can definitely tell that it's kind of skipping stuff, but like everything still kind of makes sense, and you can tell that there's something more going on, even though you're not getting the whole story. So I definitely feel like this is going to be one of those next great series. This is one of those that I'm really like. Every time the new issue comes out, we're on issue 3 now, and it's just like, oh, I can't wait to get home and read this. It's the first thing I'm reading when I get home. Also, to Matt Wang, yes, my face is not moving. It's not because I've had a stroke or anything like that.
Yes.
As I said earlier on, my camera's not working, so I threw that picture up there. So don't get too freaked out. I'm okay. No problems.
I was going to say, ask you, have you read Infidel?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because I would be.
I usually don't read a lot of stuff from Image, just because generally as a whole, a lot of their books, they sound like they want themselves to be more important than they actually are. But I really like Jeff Lemire a lot. And in fact, Jeff Lemire also wrote Bloodshot. He's been writing that series, this run of that too. So that's really the only reason why I gave it a shot in the first place, is because it's the same writer and artist that were doing Old Man Logan. So I was like, oh, I like that one, so I'll give this one a shot too. But I mean, generally, most of the stuff that comes out of Image, it's like, oh, this is going to be the next big book, and it's good for like 6 issues, and then you're just like, whatever.
Hater. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I was also going to say, does anyone need an old priest and a young priest? But I figured that the time for that one was
no one's possessed yet that we know of. There's
no Austin Powers reference. Don't know about it.
Well, that's from The Exorcist. That's where he got it from.
I know. But
come on.
Oh, Jesus, man. Come on. Either way, it fell flat. So that being the case, I have one more book and I can go on. So we could, of course, as rapid fire, and I know you got to go.
Yeah.
But we talked about this. Well, we talked about this last week, and this is Star Trek: The Next Generation Through the Mirror #3. Have you?
Oh, yeah. No, I've not. Like I said, I'm still buying them, but I just haven't sat down to read yet.
No problem. So, without going too far in it, so we finally get things kind of slightly coming together in that. So there's a plot from the Mirror Universe crew of the Enterprise that is now falling into and being played out in the Prime Universe, or the Kelvin Universe, I guess is what they call it now. I don't freaking know. I still call it the Prime Universe. Doesn't matter. So yeah, Mirror Universe.
Wait. So the Kelvin Universe, isn't that the new movie universe?
You're right. You know what? Yeah, the Kelvin Universe is the JJ verse, basically.
Okay, yeah.
You're right.
I was really confused there for a second.
Well, see, that's just it. That stuff was kind of confusing in the first place when they said that, because I was like, well, wait a minute. So is the Prime Universe the Kelvin Universe, or is the the other stuff is
The Prime universe is the original series universe.
right. So it is the actual Prime universe. So
Okay.
I'm
All right.
so yes.
I am less confused now.
Yes. And however, they do have weirdly as one of the it's not a backup, but in these, especially in the digital stuff, they put like there's the main story, there's the backup story, and then they'll put like little previews of different of other stories. And in this case, looks like there is one in the Kelvin universe that is setting up a Prime universe thing, possibly. That something it might be a book because I think it's from Boldly Go, and I haven't read any of that one.
Oh yeah, I think those are all in the Kelvin universe.
Yeah. So there was a little snippet of that one. That said, the A plot of this was like I said, the Mirror universe is encroaching into the Prime universe, and their plan is kind of going into action. All I will say is that hey, Barkley's in a holodeck again.
Are there any giant spiders?
No giant spiders this side.
Okay. All right.
So, and this is Mirror Universe, Barkley, as we come to find out. So, who's shares a little bit of the traits of Prime Universe, but not so much. Like, this is a little more, I don't even want to say rough and tumble Barkley, but he's a little bit more apt to getting your face.
A little more assertive.
Yes. Which comes into play as he and Deanna Troi basically infiltrate the Prime Universe Enterprise for a reason.
Wait, does Barkley hook up with Troi?
No.
Oh, okay.
They've just like in TNG, they had a kind of relationship, but this Troi is a little bit different. She's more of a I can't remember what they call her, and she's more of an interrogator / like, I don't want to say seductress, but they don't really,
Right. Okay.
But those are the qualities that are in there. Nevertheless, she's but her and Barkley still kind of talk like they would in TNG to a point, except for its mirror universe, so they're a little bit more rougher.
Right, I gotcha.
And there is one bit where the mirror universe Deanna meets up with Prime universe Riker, obviously, and they have they have
relations.
No. But obviously, it's going to play out in issue 2 coming out, because they were supposed to go over there and be like, "Don't make yourself conspicuous," and and don't do anything kind of crazy. But she meets up with Riker, or Riker finds her rather, and she starts to kind of come on to him, and the funny thing about it is like so. The whole plan was they're infiltrating the Enterprise, but they're using like older, like want to say first season uniform. It's like first and second season uniforms.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yana's in the mini skirt, and Barkley's in like the first season uniform. So that kind of comes into play, and the whole Barkley, whole Riker Troi thing was like she's coming on to him and kind of getting up on him, and it's like, are you feeling okay? Sometimes when they've had those of TNG and like somebody's not, somebody's affected by something, and the pieces start coming together. It's kind of like that, except for obviously it's a whole different universe and whatever. So that's the thing that's going to come into play. Over and on, in that this whole story kind of keeps going, and they get to a place in that, and then the B side is the B story is Data's on the hunt for Mirror Universe Data is on the hunt for Emperor Spock of the Mirror Universe, and somehow that's going to play into the side of this. I'm thinking, because like I said, the B side is set a few months prior to the events of the story. So I'm assuming it's going to lead up to it, and we just don't know why Spock is getting involved or whatever. Outside of that, it's still been pretty good. It does still, has the feel of kind of a Next Generation episode. So at least they're kind of keeping that.
Yeah, like I said, it's one that I'm definitely looking forward to. Just haven't gotten around to yet.
Sure. So that is it for me, though. Unless do you have anything else you got?
No, just I think it's Click of the Week time.
Yep, I believe that is the case. What you got? If you got anything, so
mine is going to be Gideon Falls.
Okay.
Obviously, I talked that book up a whole lot, so it's pretty easy to see that's definitely my favorite of what came out this week.
You actually have curious about that one. because I have read Infidel. It's not the same book, but there's some horror aspects to that, and I'm not the biggest horror fan, but there was enough in that book to kind of get me. And there was a new issue of Infidel, but I didn't get a chance to read it, so there was that. Tim's is Justice League No Justice #2. That is his click of the week. He don't know why, but it is.
Tim's slowly turning to the DC side. See,
apparently, I mean, to be fair, we all have actually had our moments. Like, I think obviously you and probably Agent 70 are the more DCers out of the four of us. But there's actually been, especially since Rebirth, there's actually been some stuff that I've been either picking up or curious about.
Yeah.
Slightly branching out, but that's another story for another time. I think, I don't know. I only read 3 books, and while they were decent, I can't see any of them were like stand out. Great. I really want to give the Avengers 2, even though we kind of talked real kind of down. But I think I'm actually going to go with Star Trek: The Next Generation Through the Mirror #3.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a decent story in a universe that, in part of a universe that we haven't gotten in the shows.
Let you Trekkie out.
There you go.
All right. So I do got to run. I tried to give you a little bit extra time because we started late and no one else is here. But you got to take the show solo from here. So
I got it.
All righty. I will see you next week.
Yep.
No,
maybe,
wait.
Because solo's coming out, and I might not. Well, my show's at 7, so I can still make the show. It'll just be a little late. Regardless, we'll talk about that later.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye. And on that, it is time for an ad, folks. And I guess I will do, because luckily I had the foresight to bring them up while he was talking. And I guess I will do Busted Tees, and I need to start putting the visuals up on here. So the ad is Busted Tees. This episode of the Comic Book Chronicles is sponsored by Busted Tees, your home for funny, awesome, cool t-shirts that are sure to get your friends' attention. Busted Tees puts many of their popular shirts designs on sale every week. Choose from several eye-catching t-shirts inspired by pop culture, cleverly themed t-shirts inspired by movies, video games, TV shows, comic books, geek culture, and much, much more. To help keep our podcasts free, order from Busted Tees by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then clicking on Keep Our Podcast Free link on the Busted Tees banner, and then shop for awesome t-shirts. Busted Tees through cspn.us. Do it today. And we go on to, boy, I wish we had sound effects. But we're going to the cinematic news at this point. And we start off with, actually, let me pull up the screen share here. For anyone watching the video will see what I'm seeing. And that is, we're starting off with the cinematic news. Marvel's The Punisher casts Annette O'Toole and Corbin Burnson for season 2. I still haven't seen season 1. I feel slightly bad about that, but slowly catching up on things. We don't know who they're playing. Oh, wait, actually, I'll take it back. Yes, we do. Annette O'Toole will be playing Eliza Schultz, and Corbin Burnson playing Anderson Schultz. Also described as conniving, wealthy woman cut from the same individuals of cloth as her husband. So yeah, they're going to be one of those power couples. So yeah, I'm not sure. I should have checked and see when season 2 is going to be, but it's coming, folks. Good news. Ms. Marvel is coming to the MCU, Feige assures. That is Kevin Feige of Marvel Entertainment. So apparently, Feige was talking in an interview. I guess that is in this article. He was talking to the BBC, possibly for Avengers: Infinity War, and it got brought up. Which there's a couple of more. There's a couple more other people that's going to go with it. But the prospect of Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, coming into the MCU, is that going to be a thing? And Feige was like, he couldn't offer up any details on how she'd appear, but he did confirm that Miss Marvel's live action debut is in the works, quote unquote. So that is awesome, and a lot of people were happy to see that news. I one of them because I love Miss Marvel. She is a dope character, and that book has been dope. So that's awesome news on that front. Also along the Ms. Marvel lines, Rogue One's Riz Ahmed offers to write Ms. Marvel screenplay. Now, I saw this on Twitter the other night when this happened, or when this was being retweeted around, rather. Oh, wait. Ooh. I'm sorry. I just saw some more comic book news that I want to bring up later. And if you're watching the video, you just saw it. Nevertheless, so there was a tweet by Riz Ahmed after the news of Miss Marvel might be in the MCU come out from Riz Ahmed saying, hey, and if you're watching the video, you can see it. So when do Marvel Studios want me, Mindy Kaling, and Kumail Nanjiani to get started on the Ms. Marvel screenplay? And obviously people was like, yes, 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 yes. Even to the likes of Sana Amanat and G. Willow Wilson, the writer of Miss Marvel, the writers and co-creators of the writer, excuse me, and co-creator of Miss Marvel. So if it's gonna happen, we shall see. But if something does come out of it, that'll be pretty awesome. Infinity War directors confirmed the fates of Aunt May, Betty Ross, and Lady Sif. Because we know everyone was, thinking about where they were at the end of coming out of that movie. And, I'm just going to say that I'm not going to go through all of that, but there's an article from Screen Rant about that. And if you care to, if you're watching the show notes, I mean, if you're, well, we need to really get good about putting the show notes with the things, but regardless, that information is out there. I will probably retweet the show notes so that you guys can see that. Marvel will introduce new surprising characters after Avengers 4. This is, I think, may or may not have been in the same interview or in a similar interview that Feige had, but he basically said that there's going to be some new blood in the into MCU after Avengers 4, which also around the same time or maybe before. Actually, I think this might have been before, because there was also confirmation, which probably was before this. He also confirmed that an Eternals film is in the works. And I think we may have talked about that one last week, but I am not entirely sure. The fun thing about this article about the introduction of new surprising characters, I was just thinking one of them might be because there's the possibility of the Fantastic Four getting back into the MCU, not with the whole Fox deal. I'm thinking Impossible Man. I don't know. That'd be dumb, but that'd be something. Regardless, speaking of the Marvel, the Eternals, Marvel's Eternals film find its writers, and that is Matthew and Ryan Firpo, who wrote a movie called The Ruins. I don't know anything about it. So, hey, the Eternals have a writer. Whether that movie gets out, there's actually been some speculation on Twitter, on my timeline at least, was like, which I think it was Tim that asked that question, or was it Tim or was it Dr. McDuck? I can't remember. Or the artist formerly known as Dr. McDuck. What's up, Danny? Was like, which one would come out first? The New Gods movie that DC is planning, or this Eternals movie that Marvel is planning. Both of those groups were made by Jack Kirby, if you weren't already aware. So that was why all of that came about. Regardless, keep on moving. Hell yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will return for a 6th season. With the caveat that I believe it's only 13 episodes. I need to catch up on this show because to me, the show has always been pretty good, but apparently the last season or this season that I think just starting to finishing up has been really good by accounts. So yeah. I can only imagine what they're going to do with 13 episodes, which I'm trying to remember. I think didn't the first season have 13 episodes? I can't remember. But yeah, so it gets one more season, lives to fight another day, as some were saying. On the other front, ABC, I hate you, autoplaying video. ABC officially cancels Marvel's Inhuman. We all knew it was canceled. However, I guess this is the official word. Like, that show was canceled before it even started by well, people's accounts, but people can be harsh. Excuse me, taking a little water break there. So yeah, why this is news now, don't know, but no one was expecting this to last that much longer. Gambit movie hopes to shoot this summer for real this time, according to the CBR article. You know, the movie that no one wanted except for Channing Tatum is presumably still on. Moving right along. Here's how the screenwriters of Deadpool 2 decided which heroes would join X-Force. Deadpool 2 out right now at the time of this recording on, I shouldn't say the year, whatever, but it's the 17th of May 2018. So yeah, it's out now. I'm not seeing it. 870 might be seeing it. We don't know. We'll find out. Hopefully he's all right. But yeah, there's an article about why the screenwriters picked who they picked. I saw this article that is a bit, and I could have sworn it was 21 Jump Street. I don't know why. If you're watching the video, you can dispute it or not, regardless. Jonathan Cadston reveals who this returning actor is playing in Solo, a Star Wars movie, which comes out next week with updated info. It would be a spoiler to say, but I will say this much. There is a long-standing character actor from the Star Wars series that has pretty much been in all of the movies, and I'm trying to remember if he was in Rogue One. Might have been playing a character, and this person is apparently going to be in Solo, probably not playing the character he's most famous for, as the accounts say. But yeah, look out for that next week. Cartoon Network's Mega Man animated series gets a new name and synopsis. So there's going to be a new animated Mega Man series, yay! And it's going to be called Mega Man Fully Charged. Only reason why I'm putting this here, there are Mega Man comics. I don't have to claim myself, but I'm just doing it anyway. So fans of Mega Man, do your thing. Gotham renewed for 5th and final season on Fox. I also need to catch up on this one because that's a crazy show. You know what? People, there have been shows that's been canceled in the last few weeks, and some would argue a couple of them, or at least one probably that early. I'm looking at you, the Expanse, because that show's great, but it died after 3 seasons. And I think there's another show that died after 5. 5 seasons, pretty good run, I personally think. So, and as crazy as Gotham got, at its highs and lows, that's a pretty good run. Meanwhile, Supernatural's still on the air. Why? And The Simpsons for some stupid reason. But anywho, speaking of the Gotham front, Batman's Alfred Pennyworth gets his own TV series. So my thing is, wait, that's called Gotham, because realistically, Gotham was mainly Alfred. Like, yeah, he was running after Bruce's snotty butt, but whatever. That show was and they start off with Jim Gordon, whatever. But Alfred was pretty much one of the draws to Gotham for me because he was pretty badass. All we know so far is that it's going to be 10 episodes. It's going to be not connected to Gotham, apparently. which is a bummer because the Alfred that is in Gotham is awesome, who is also the son of a Time Lord. Um, oh shoot, Sean something. I can't remember his last name, but whatever. He's the son of a Doctor Who. That's awesome in itself. He should get his book. He should get it. But at the same time, Gotham was pretty much a show. I don't understand that. Moving right along. The Arrowverse Crisis on Earth X crossover soundtrack is getting a official CD release. I still have yet to catch up on the Arrowverse to see the crossover, and I wasn't aware that's the thing you could do. But that makes sense. The funny part about this is that apparently it's the CD's coming out on La La Land Records. Let that sink in for a second. I don't think it has anything to do with the movie, and if it does, okay, whatever. But they also have imprints that do kind of do this kind of stuff. So regardless of them, let's see. DC Entertainment will release the score from composer Blake Neely on May 22nd in a limited run CD. So that's the thing. Maybe the music was that good to warrant that, I guess. Sure. Wait, I thought I had. Did I skip something? Did I skip something? I don't think I did. Oh, I did not. Young Justice, Outsiders, Art confirms Katana, Lightning, and Metamorpho. So yeah, we got a I figured this was oldness. I thought this came out last week, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so there was a screen cap of the show that is going to be on the DC Universe, aka the streaming service that has yet to show itself. And it shows a picture of the team, or a team, including Nightwing and Katana and Lightning, aka Black Lightning's daughter. Well, excuse me, cousin, I guess. Cousin in the books, daughter in the show. I don't know why they did that, but sure. So that's the thing. I don't know. I love the Young Justice. I'm looking forward to this. I'm not looking forward to being on a pay service that I don't know if it's going to have any value to it. Moving right along, DC's Birds of Prey movie gets a production start date and an all-female crew. So this is the movie that Margot Robbie, aka Harley Quinn of Suicide Squad movie, has been brewing up for a while. I believe, and actually might have been. I think there was a story about this was kind of brewing ever since Suicide Squad was a thing, was in mind. So yeah, and I believe it was supposed to be a Harley only thing, but I think it has blossomed into this Birds of Prey movie. So. Cool beans. Let's see. Birds of Prey will begin production in January 2019, presumably once Robbie finishes her other stuff. So cool beans. The Witcher TV series, likely release dates, confirmed, character storyline, everything you need to know. So those are basically articles so if you didn't know, The Witcher. And the only reason why I'm putting this in here because there are Witcher comic books, but nevertheless, The Witcher is a video game series of 3 video games that is now getting a Netflix live action show starring Mads Mikkelsen, and I think there actually have been comic books related to this. But yeah, that's just a story about everything we know about it so far, so that's cool. And there's a trailer out there for the show. I don't know if it's an official trailer, but I have seen a trailer for it on YouTube. But you can check that out. Everyone's favorite G.I. Joe. Well, okay. A lot of people's favorite G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, is getting his own standalone movie. Yay. It's going to be well, I was about to say, we had a bunch of ninja movies back in the 80s, and sure. And being that Snake Eyes never actually talks. Historically, that's going to be interesting. But then again, they're going to have people around him like they do any other time. So Yeah, they've looks like they got somebody to write a script. Whether any of the Joes are gonna be seen in this movie if it actually happens, sure. Emil Hirsch is gathering support for a Speed Racer sequel. I should have actually I will probably send this to Dirk when this is all said and done because I believe he likes Speed Racer. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. I've never seen it. I heard it was all right for some people. I think I've seen bits of it. And if you don't know the original Speed, well, yes, the original Speed Racer movie was a Wachowski's joint from 2008. Well, yeah, I guess it is 10 years old at this point. So yeah, the star is wants to try to get a Speed Racer 2 off the ground. So sure. I don't know if it did that great to warrant it, obviously, since it's been 2 years, but that's never stopped a movie before. Some sad news for folks fans of Superman, aka the 78 version. Margot Kidder, Superman actress, dead at 69. Now, she obviously was an actress that did other stuff, but her most notable role was the Lois Lane of the Superman series with Christopher Reeve. So that was very sad to hear. So yeah, that's been, I think that was been a couple of days ago when that happened. That was actually Monday. Or it was Sunday, I believe, when the news came out. So that was sad indeed. But in other news, Elizabeth Shue, I believe, was she in Back to the Future? I believe I'm trying to remember where I know her from. Sorry if she sees this, but Elizabeth Shue joins Amazon's The Boys, according to a report. So that is a Amazon-made show about a comic book by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson. I've never read it, don't know anything about it, but it's supposed to. But yeah, a lot of shows, a lot of comics have been optioned lately, as we all well know. But this one's supposedly coming to Amazon Prime in 2019. So somebody who knows that property will be fine with it. The Japanese show that saved the Power Rangers is coming to America. Okay, never mind. We're not going to do that one. So apparently, Shout Factory, is releasing the English subtitled Super Sentai series, aka the impetus of the original Power Rangers American version. Some of that has been kind of floating around here and there. I think I want to say there was a fairly recent Twitch stream. Matter of fact, might have been through Shout Factory. I can't remember, playing some old Super Sentai stuff. So that'll be cool. So now you can see the original stuff that prompted, and actually that prompted and pretty much was used in a lot of the earlier, and I guess some of the later Power Rangers, because a lot of the footage was basically taken from the action scenes were taken from Super Sentai, the series, the various series, and melded into Power Rangers. So there's that thing. More Captain Marvel movie roles have been confirmed. According to the hashtag show, McKenna Grace will play a young version of Carol Danvers. Kenneth Mitchell will play Carol's father, Joseph Danvers. Banshee actress Anna Honora, I apologize if I'm missing that, is also said to be cast in a role that's currently being kept under wraps. So Captain Marvel is going to start filming soon. And if you've seen Infinity War, you have seen allusions to that coming anyway, whether you knew that or not. Speaking of Avengers, Chris Hemsworth may not be done playing Thor with Avengers 4. I guess he, like Robert Downey Jr., said, hey, they would probably come back for, something, And actually, here's a quote here. It says, on his Instagram, the actor thanked fans after Infinity War's massive opening in China. It was the biggest superhero film opening ever, the actor said. The film continues to smash records left and right. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's all thanks to you guys. So, yeah, that was that. And I'm guessing... So, yeah, I'm guessing or at least they're taking this to believe that I don't know, that seems to be kind of a stretch, but they're taking it to believe that he would probably do more, but without him actually saying that, according to this article. So I don't know where the hint comes in from. Somebody knows. Sure. Batwoman joins the Arrowverse in next major crossover event. Batwoman of the Bat family. So there must mean going to be some Bat ties coming up in the Arrowverse. Not that there wasn't already, because clearly Arrow in itself was pretty much Batman, Batman with an arrow. We're gonna go past that. So yeah, it sounds like they're going to be I guess us, yes. Speaking of the Green Arrow, Stephen Amell himself made the announcement at the CW's upfronts Thursday morning. We're incredibly excited to announce that we'll be doing another crossover event this fall. No duh, on CW. That was me, editorial lessons, and no duh. And we'll be introducing a new character, Amell said. For the very first time appearing, we will be fighting alongside Batwoman, which is terrific. The crossover is going to make it to air in December. I need to leave right now to start filming it, quote unquote, from Amell. And so, which means they're adding the city. Oh yeah, this is right here. We're adding the city of Gotham into the Arrowverse. This will be another full-throttled, action-packed event, according to Mark Pedowitz, president of the CW. So I feel like they've kind of dropped some Gotham-type hints during the course of one or two of the shows. Like, I feel like there was some just straight up references. I might have been, and I think this article is suggesting that there was one. And that was not the one I was thinking about, but whatever. So cool. More Batverse stuff in the Arrowverse. That's weird that it's now. I don't know. Okay. There's more news I need to. I'm going to save that for next week because this is running kind of long. Going over to comic book news. DC's Scooby Apocalypse just killed off one of its original Scooby-Doo characters, and I almost set up some music for this, which would have been beautiful. So if Classic listens to this part and wants to throw in Freddy's dead, spoiler alert, Freddy's dead in this comic book. They killed off Freddy, y'all. I think, you know, the supposed leader of the book group is dead. Now, I haven't been reading Scooby Apocalypse, but, you know, and actually I forgot to mention that with Dirt earlier, but I don't think he was reading it either. So yeah, they killed off, and it sounds like it was Daphne's fault, or at least she's making it to be her fault. And the most recent issue, number 25, reveals that. So, Rep Fred, okay. And the article tickled me because it kind of speculated that, like, we don't know if Freddy could get killed, that means the other folks on there could be also on the block, a la Walking Dead style. But since the book is called Scooby Apocalypse, pretty sure he won't be the one to get it, according to the article, which I found was kind of funny. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Anywho, Marvel's You Are Deadpool turns a comic into an RPG, or I guess more specifically, a choose your own adventure book by accounts. I've not read this book, but apparently this book is a choose your own adventure style series. I don't know, and issue 3 just came out like last week or something like that. Like, I'm not a real big Deadpool fan in the first place, so yeah. But I am curious about that for the choose your own adventure aspect of it. And I think Al Ewing is writing this, and I do like me some Al Ewing. Yep, so I will probably check it out for that part, if anything else. But yeah, I'll have to see if we got any review copies or something. Marvel hints either Jessica Jones or Luke Cage is bisexual. I don't know why I put this in here, because I don't think this. I don't know. So this is a spoiler for the Hunt for Wolverine Adamantium Agenda. This is also coming from Screen Rant. Taking it from grain of salt, because there's been some other stuff that I found dubious from whatever. So apparently there was a throwaway line, if you're watching the video, that you could see here. that from Jessica Jones says, aside from one mutually agreed upon open-minded friend, I'm the only one who gets to touch this guy without permission. That guy being Luke Cage, her hubby or ex-hubby. Wait, no, I'm sorry, no, hubby. Yeah, they're still married. I don't know why that would have been fucked up. So I'm like, okay, I guess. My thought went to, I was like, okay, so they're talking about Iron Fist, but I didn't think about the open-minded part, which I don't know. This is probably nothing. I think this article may or may not be making the things. But even if that is the case, and they make one of those characters bisexual, cool, great. But the thing that really kind of messes me up with that is like, there was a whole run of books like the America book, Iceman book. There are some other books that have gotten canceled that were already representing, one aspect of characters whose sexuality was not the normal. So why do this? I guess I'm all for bisexuality thing because whatever. Well, we ain't got to get into that. But I don't know. This seems weird, and I don't know. I don't know. But again, like I said, there's been a lot of LGBTQ representation in books that have been canceled. Oh, World of Wakanda, one of them. Those books could have lived if they wanted to keep doing stuff like this, or make another character. Why? I don't know. Whatever. It's usually the character that, like, why couldn't Steve? Okay, if you're gonna make somebody bisexual, make it Steve Rogers. You've already made him Hydra. He and Bucky got a thing. Y'all know this. I'm just saying they won't do that. Regardless, my rant is over. Like if it's a thing, it's a thing. Cool, but I don't know. That's their choices of characters and the choices they have done with other books, slightly dubious. All right, Marvel reveals Star Wars' secret Jedi Order and has Sith-like origins. So I think we've talked about this in the past. So we do know from the Darth Vader book that Jocasta Nu was making was making plans to start a new Jedi Order, and she was pretty much stockpiling stuff. I haven't read Darth Vader 16, so I'm a little behind, but apparently in the latest or in the last issue that kind of comes out, and I do know that there is a Jedi that's so in the current arc of the book, Vader is on Mon Cala, and there was a Jedi that shows up. It's actually specifically this Jedi, if you're watching the video, that you can see it in the picture. So, but apparently, he's also a part of or he may also be a part of the new Jedi Order that Jocasta Nu was trying to start. I don't know. I have to catch up with that book and see. Regardless, that stuff is out there. I thought it had implications on the cinematic universe, the Star Wars universe, but and that could still be the case, but we don't know. Marvel's Mind Stone has unlocked. What time is it? Okay, wow. Yeah, I need to push this along. Marvel's Mind Stone has unlocked an unexpected ability in Daredevil. Spoiler alert, I think it made him see again. And I say again because I think this is not the first time. Well, obviously he could see using his abilities, but I think actually see. Or this is basically enhancing. No, it says here it returned to sight. Okay. Moving right along. How long that lasts, who knows? X-Men's Extermination clears the board while unraveling Marvel's time stream. I somehow doubt that is absolutely the case. Now, obviously, if you know from the past, I can't remember what event it was, but Beast brought back the young original X-Men team, and that started, and they were trapped here because of time stuff. And I guess Extermination is gonna put everything back into place. Yeah, all right. Especially dealing with those 5 that came up into the thing, which yeah, I guess they're all still alive. But yeah, Ed Brisson and Pepe Larraz is doing this book or this event or whatever. So cool. X-Men fans rejoice, I guess. And now for our Stanley corner. Stanley writes his first real tweet. Says the others weren't actually his words. So if you guys know, there was a Twitter account, Real Stanley, and I'm not sure if anybody knew it was actually him or not. I mean, the tweet sounded like things he would say. So I wasn't 100% convinced that it was him, and I don't know. But nevertheless, Stanley actually got on Twitter and said, "Hey, it was actually him. That was somebody else doing this," which is not unheard of in the realm of Twitter with celebrities, and even I believe in the comic book space, because I think Brian Stelfreeze's account is being run by somebody else. So yeah, but yeah, Stanley has wrested control of his Twitter account, and he tweeted out the other day saying, "Today is my first day I've ever did a tweet myself. Before today, my account was done by others. I still don't have control of my Facebook. Someone else is doing it, not me." So there is that. And in also related news in this Stanley moment, he thanks fans in his first ever Twitter video. So yeah, he learned how to do Twitter video. So watch out, folks. As a matter of fact, he asked how do I post a video on Twitter, and I guess he got answered in droves and droves, because as Twitter is wont to do. And he comes out with a video thanking Twitter by saying, he posted a video and says, "Thank you, Twitter. I finally learned how to post a video thanks to you guys." And I believe either in the video or it might have been one of the posts after he made that first post that I'm in about. Who's like you guys are basically saying, it's like, hey, you guys are gonna, are the ones I trust to take care of me now, or something like that. Something along those lines, I'm paraphrasing. But apparently he says in the video, "Hey, true believers, I just want to tell you I love your comments on Twitter. I don't know how much I've been missing now that I see them, and I just want you to know that I appreciate everything you say and do. Probably not everything, but I love you all, and let's keep up this relationship. Excelsior!" I had to add that in there myself. So yeah, that's so Stanley is actually tweeting from the Real Stanley account. Let that sink in. Still in Stanley news, Stan Lee files $1 billion lawsuit against POW Entertainment, the company that he co-founded, mind you, for quote unquote stealing his name and likeness. So, Stan Lee's been in the news for a couple of different, has been in the company news for a couple of different things lately. This is just amongst the latest. There was also a counter to that, in that POW Entertainment responds to Stan Lee's lawsuit by report. That's coming off of Newsarama, Hollywood Reporter via Newsarama. So the statement reads from POW: "The allegations are completely without merit. In particular, the notion that Mr. Lee did not knowingly grant POW, I kind of want to say POW, exclusive rights to his creative works or his identity is so preposterous that we have to wonder whether Mr. Lee is personally behind this lawsuit. There's no question Mr. Lee, who along with his daughter was and remains a substantial POW shareholder, clearly understood the terms of the agreement he signed. The evidence, which includes Mr. Lee's subsequent statements and conduct, is overwhelming, and we look forward to presenting it in court." They're basically just saying, it's a lie, and we got receipts. I guess that's what they're trying to say. Unfortunately, tonight we do not have our legal correspondent, so we can't, see what he thinks about this. Maybe next week we'll bring it back up, because I'm pretty sure it'll still be going on by then. Let's see. Star Wars Celebration jumps to Chicago in 2019. So save up your pennies, folks. Yeah, I kind of want to go to Celebration one day. I'm not even gonna lie. That seemed like a big brash mess, but I kind of want to do it. Excuse me. Lucasfilm and Reed's Pop Star Wars Celebration returns in 2019. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. Fact checking doing On podcast, I hear it's the devil. Oh, okay. So they're not having a celebration this year. If that's right. Wait. Okay. Yeah, I guess maybe that's the case. So looks like celebration is maybe skipping a year and coming back next year, which is weird because they usually have news. And I guess since Solo's coming out right now and the next episode, I don't even know when episode 9 is coming out, but that's probably be the only reason why they will be doing something like that. I'm speculating. Don't at me on that. But anyway, April 11th through the 15th, 2019, inside Chicago's McCormick Place, the same convention center as ReedPop C2E2 is happening. C2E2 is 2 weeks prior to this, so I guess good on that place. And then again, I guess it is ReedPop, so whatever. Tickets for Celebration 2019 are scheduled to go on sale June 5th at 12 p.m. CST at StarWarsCelebration.com. Once again, get your pennies if you want to go. So I'm trying to remember. This is always confusing. There's Celebration and there's D. I think D is the Repop one, and Celebration is the Repop one. D is the fan one that happens in like Orlando every year. I'm assuming that's still going on. And I think that, folks, is that actually. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. We're still getting some solicitations from June 18th for June 2018, but all of the bigger ones are already out. Oh, there is actually one more piece of news that I wanted to put on here, and I apologize for not getting this earlier. And if you paid attention to my Twitter account, that's Roddycat on Twitter, or News Nerds Need, you might have seen something about this. And that is Free Comic Book Day 2018 offerings on Comixology. So yeah, there's a bunch of Free Comic Book Day books. May 5th was Free Comic Book Day, and they usually give out a bunch of books that the local comic book establishments have to buy and sell on that day. Or not sales, they buy and give away on that day in hopes that, people come in, shop around a little bit in addition to getting those books, as opposed to some people going in and just getting those books and dipping. But some of those books are on Comixology have shown up. I think Wednesday was most of the stuff, although some of the stuff's been kind of coming out. Like the DC Superhero Girls book has been out since the day of New Comic Books Day. The 2 Marvel books, that's the Amazing Spider-Man and the Avengers / Captain America one, has been out for a few days now. And then there's a few more that's come out this past Wednesday, including the Adventure Time, Shadow Man, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shadow Grid one, if anybody wants to check that one out, and World's Greatest Comic Books. And yeah, so those are out there. There's an article about that on thekliqnation.com. That's TheKLIQNation. If you want to check that out. And that actually is the end of the news, and I am going to pop back to my ugly face real quick to do an ad. In fact, I'm not going to pop back to my ugly face right now to do an ad, because the ad I'm going to do, oh geez, nope, actually I will, because I just remember what I can't do. And that is going to be an ad for Funko, your home for exclusive collectibles, apparel, and brand merchandise. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles podcast can enjoy 10% off of your entire purchase when shopping at Funko. That is Funko.com. To place your first order with 10% off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Funko link and place your order. When you get to the checkout, put in the offer code SHOP10 for your 10% discount. Funko through cspn.us. Do it today. And you lovely folks, on that end, we are at the end of this here Comic Book Chronicles. We will be back next week. I think we will. I'm pretty certain we will. We may be on movie protocol. I do not know how many of us are going to see Solo, a Star Wars movie. I am one of them because I have a 7 o'clock. but I'm not sure. I can pretty safely say Dirt won't because he never does. But so I don't know if any of the other guys are going to see Solo and are going to be on the show regardless. But stay tuned to our individual Twitter accounts, and we will put that out. You can find me at RoddyCat on Twitter. You can also find me at News Need on Twitter. You can also find, well, I got a Reddit. News Needs got a Reddit, rather. And you can go check that out. I don't normally do a lot of, there's some comic stuff I put in there every now and then. But regardless, you can go to those places. You can also go to CB Caps on Instagram, where I tweet out or Instagram comic panels that I enjoy. Sometimes I'm a little behind the thing. Sometimes I'm kind of on top of it. Regardless, good stuff. Go check it out. You can find PCN_Dirt at PCN_Dirt on Twitter. You can also find him at Pop Culture Net on Twitter. You can also find him at popculturenetwork.com. That is his site, where he, if the name doesn't tell you what that's about, I don't know what to tell you on that one. He also has another splinter site on top of that, which is a sub side of that called I Need Comics, which is, you know, you like comics, you need comics, he needs comics. That's why I did that site. Yeah. Tim Dog 98. You can find him at Tim DOGG 98 on Twitter. You can also find him at the KLIQ Nation on Twitter, and of course the CB Cron Twitter account. You can also find him at thekliqnation.com. That's TheKLIQNATION. For some of the stuff, you can also find him on CBR, because you know some of the stuff that's, hey, I do the news. Sometimes I throw some of his stuff in there. Don't have to. I just do it anyway. Good stuff. But go check him out there. Go read the stuff, y'all. You can also find Agent_70 at Agent_70 on Twitter. You can also find him on Instagram at Agent_70. And boy, my Reed Richards starter kit is really looking badly. But that is it, folks. You can also find this podcast on the CSPN.us. You can go check out this podcast and other fine podcasts on that site, and you know, have a good time, because there's a lot of good stuff on there. You know, go Bad and Boozy, Beer It Is. I'm not suggesting, you know, alcohol for the kiddies or anything, but I'm just saying for the adults in the audience who like a little spirits. You know, Classic Team Up, the slew of wrestling shows they have over there, and yeah, good stuff. Go check it out. But you can subscribe to this podcast on Google Play. You can also go to Apple Podcasts, aka iTunes, and get us there. SoundCloud on the Close Slither channel. You can go check us out there. We may have, I need to see about the fact of whether we're on iHeartRadio, but check there anyway, or check another place. Just like Dirt said earlier, you can go check, you know, go check the name. We're probably out there somewhere for a podcast. Subscribe to us, please. You know, like, subscribe, all that kind of jazz, whatever. Smash that like button. Shop.cspn.us for merch. Folks, you know, help us, you know, keep this fine site running strong, and get some nice stuff, you know, emblazoned with the Comic Book Chronicles logo, or you know, one of the other podcasts. You know, you could do that too. But you know, Comic Book Chronicles, come on, good stuff. You've seen the logo, looks good. And with that, folks, we will return next week, and if we don't, well, we will let you know. Movie for call may or may not be an account. Regardless, check out the Twitters for that, like I said earlier. And this has been, before I forget, because I was clearly about to forget, that this is the Comic Chronicles, and we are out.
Good evening, Rick. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor